so I expect this to be a good one.
So, not much to write home about in the white magic spells, but we got Temper and Fast at level 1. And pretty expensive houses.
Yeah, I'm a little torn about both Temper and Fast being at 1. That's very nice, but to dedicate both Temper and Fast to a fighter, it's a little rough. But I mean, with it being level 1, perhaps the sheer volume of spell charges they get is going to help with that.
Yeah, this is going to benefit Saltyphry for sure.
Yeah, the only way that wouldn't benefit at this point is whether or not we see life or other key white magic spells in places that the red mages cannot use them.
And ichbinmiah make quick work of Garland. So the Princess Sarah got the crown and the king got the loot.
Well, the early crown, as I said last game, is possible to be indicative of a ship seed where potentially our ship and our TNT could be crown locked. Well, it's a little more likely here, as the next place we're going to have to check is the Dwarf Cave. Well, we'll have to see what the items in Temple of Fiends are, because Maya went right to Garland.
Actually, Saltyphry already got the ship. It was in one of the chests in TOF.
So then, yes, we have a ship seed. Yeah, bear with us. We might be, I've seen the comments that we might be a little ahead. I'm not sure if that is me or if that is Dee or some combination. Right now, I am just now looking at Sarah giving the crown to Saltyphry, so you can tell me whether or not I'm ahead or otherwise. But with the ship being in Temple of Fiends, we know that our next place to travel to is over to the Pirates, and we'll see what they have to give. It could be the canoe, which opens things up a little bit, or it could be the floater or something, which means we're going to have to find whatever we're looking for as part of, potentially, the crown chain. Maya now picking up his ship. He's going to be probably a little unhappy to see that with the double dip, but I expect him to make the full run over to Bicky now.
Yeah, that would be the best. That would be the best course of action for sure. Getting at least one more key items, seeing what their options are.
Well, if the item from Bicky is anything other than the canoe, then we're going to have to search the chests in the area, whether it be Dwarf Cave or whether it be Matoya's Cave or perhaps whether it be the Marsh Cave. I think we also haven't seen the buyable item yet. It could be in Provoca, it could be in Elfland, that could be the floater or otherwise, but we'll see what Bicky has to give and whether or not it's going to make this thing a little interesting.
Well, we got Arm 4 at level 2. So
Arm 4 is not bad. It gives your red mage just something to do, I guess. I would have said white mages, but he doesn't have any.
Yeah, especially if you need to dip into Marsh Cave.
Def. With Harm 4, I almost wonder, and I didn't see the length of Encounter 1, but I almost wonder if one of our runners would attempt to pop grind with level 4, or with level 2 Harm 4. You get that Zombull encounter, and you could cleave through those easily for some easy early experience, especially if you have to go to the Marsh Cave.
Ooh, ichbinmiah having a rough time with some mad ponies.
Ooh. Yes, the ponies have stun touch too, giving Maya the business. he has to wipe and reset out of that one. I think he was either on his way to Matoya's. I think he's going to change course and head over to Biggie now. I don't know if Maya's burning. I'm not sure what Maya's doing. Maybe he doesn't feel... Oh, he doesn't really have any... He hasn't seen 2 yet. I don't know if he knows whether there's a black magic spell. It doesn't look like it, as it looks like Saltyphry is taking this encounter by hand.
Yeah, I don't recall what was... Okay, Lit, Locksaber, and Rob at level 2, so...
Yeah, I don't know that I like any of those. Rub may have been only slightly more useful than a weapon at this point, but doubtful. So we are slowly mowing down the pirates here in a stark contrast from some other seeds where you at least have an AoE attack that can kill, even if it's as bad as Bane or Zap or otherwise. We are having to take these pirates down by hand as they give the cube. So ladies and gentlemen, somewhere is the TNT, whether it's in Matoya's or whether it's in the Marsh Cave. It could be in the Dwarf Cave. We never really know. We'll find out here in a moment.
So this might be a little bit longer than the previous race.
It looks like Salty's gonna go for the crown chest first, if I had to guess. As opposed to dipping Matoya's cave, he's gonna go for the crown chest first, so he has that crystal to take to Matoya's and check those items. Not a bad play here, plus he might be able to net a couple more levels. The problem is if he can't get to 5, we're about to find out if anything's good at 3. Okay, you got Ice 3 at a nice price. That's good. But his red mages are going to need level 6 or 8 to be able to cast it. It's not something you get right off. I can't remember what level red mage gets 3. It's either 6 or 8. So it's still going to be a little bit before Salty gets to use those spells. That's going to be... it's not really an advantage, because unfortunately Maya does not have a black mage with him either.
Yeah, and we got Cure 3 and Invisible 2 in the white magic shop.
And we have Fire 3 over in the black magic shop. We got Life 2 in the third slot of 4.
Yeah.
Life 2, if that's in the third slot, if ETAP has got that right, one of our tavern veterans here, Life 2 is in a Knight learnable, or no, sorry, that's level 4. It is in a Red Mage learnable slot. So that's going to actually be good and be beneficial to the Red Mages. It looks like, based on party comp, I'd give a slight edge to Saltyphry. The white mage spells have kind of lined up in favor of the red mage. The red mage is going to give you a little better survivability and a little better broad use with the low-level temper fast and the ability to cast Life 2 on both of those characters, based only purely on party comp. At this point in time, 8 minutes in, I'd give a slight advantage to Saltyphry.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Also, if he decides to go with a three-man party, his red mages are going to level up a little bit faster, so he's gonna get a little more charges.
Yeah, but see, in this fight with Astos, he's probably gonna have to rely on Temper Fast Fighter.
Yeah, because he still don't have any charges of Ice 3.
What he can do is, if he feels comfortable in that, and the other thing, as I mentioned last game, is Aptos has a deceptively high evasion rate, potentially. Brack actually has... no, it's not Brack. What is it I'm thinking of? I thought it was Brack. Brack has... maybe it's Bane, has a 1 in 9 chance of landing. I think Brack has a somewhat around that area chance to live, maybe 1 in 11. It's a kind of a remote shot, but may not be a bad thing to do. Never mind, Salty doesn't take my advice and downs Astos anyway.
Ooh, ichbinmiah just found the power bonk.
That's a great pickup.
Though we already know Saltyphry is going to pick it up eventually.
Yeah, Maya making the play for the early dive and hopes to find the TNT so that he doesn't have to do all of the crown chain on foot, as something he can come back and do later. Oh, and Maya has to reset out of the Mad Ponies once again.
Yeah, those are rough.
And so now Salty is going to complete the second leg of his crown quest by ship to take the crystal to Matoya's cave. He will also pick up that power gauntlet, which is nice. Ooh, wait a minute.
Sahag's got Blizzard.
The seas are a little rough this afternoon, folks. Exercise caution when taking your loved ones out on the boat.
Yeah, especially considering this is a seed, ship seed. One of the very rare ship seed I've seen in this tournament so far.
It's funny because I think we've had more ship seeds in round 4 here than we've had in the entire tournament, which makes things really interesting because there are a couple of questions we have to ask ourselves. Namely, where's the canoe? There are a handful of places the canoe could be, but the most exciting place it could be is behind Sarda, which means we have to find the ruby somewhere.
Who knows, maybe we got a March cave seed. We're gonna know soon enough.
Who knows? It could be in Crown Locked Marsh for all we know.
Oh.
Houses are a little expensive early. 1821's going to put a little damper in their wallet early for when you want to drop that house outside a volcano or something like that. Endgame is not going to make that big of a deal, but if you wanted to get those levels inside Volcano, houses are going to come at a little bit of a premium.
Question in the chat, yeah, Edward did win.
And so now we're going to see, starting with the Elfland Castle, what the crown chests hold and whether or not the TNT is located in these crown chests. Furthermore, I do wonder if we're going to have a ruby canoe seed. We had one a couple of days ago, and then I had a pretty close call with that in my match with Tyrannex, as Salty finds the Adamant a great pickup.
Yeah, especially in these seeds, since you know you're going to find the tail sooner or later, so the Adamant is pretty much is way more useful than any other races in the previous tournament.
Yeah, and that's largely stemming from the fact that Mass Immune is not an incentivized item in these flags. Back in the day, when you had just the 2 incentivized locations, Mass Immune was one of the incentivized items. Not anymore. It's somewhere out in the world, so it's always good to find one of these big swords to be able to use. Well, we missed Sleep Touch on Astos, and Maya's going for the Brack strats on Astos here. I think it's a 1 in 9 or 1 in 11. I think it's a 1 in 11, a 9% chance to hit with Brack. And I think he's just going to keep suiciding himself into it till he runs out of charges, or until he wises up and uses Temper Fast. Ooh, as we have Salty buying the expensive cabins because we haven't seen cheap tents yet. Overworld travel is kind of a big deal, and unfortunately dropping 3,220 gold for 10 cabins is a little regrettable. But unfortunately, what can you do when you need to travel to the Marsh Cave and to other locations?
Yeah, because as far as we know right now, this still could very well be a Marsh Cave seed.
Yeah, and Maya's struggling a little bit with this Astos fight. Only, I think, using maybe a silver knife in there. Now he's going with the fast temper strats.
So I didn't notice, but either the wolf or the great wolf got the stun touch.
Yeah, that's never good when they come in packs like that. It could easily cause you distress.
Especially when you know you're gonna have to deal with the crown quest on foot.
Definitely. So we have a question in chat. Why do both have a dead black belt? That is a pretty correct assessment there, Sinriser. It does evenly distribute the experience across the living, non-stoned party members. And so typically there are two reasons black belts aren't used a whole lot in this seed. Primarily the low experience boost at 2.4x plus 80 tends to shy people away from the black belt class because B, black belts require at least level 21, if not level 32, to be effective based on the number of hits that they get. And so a lot of times the time investment to level a black belt to appropriately usable levels is not worth the time it would take to actually just go through and beat the game with a 3-man party.
Saltyphry, seems like Saltyphry decided to grind a little bit on those mummies. And considering one of the best offensive spell they got is Arm 4, this is a good strategy.
Definitely. With the spell choices being a little limited, at least until he gets the ability to cast those level 3 spells, he's definitely going to have to rely on encounters like this. I actually really like this play, depending on how he kind of comes out with this, because it's going to be difficult for him to gain levels otherwise. Once he gets that coveted, was it 6 or 7 when he gets his 2 charges maybe, the levels will start flowing in for him. But for right now, maybe it's 8, but for right now, or maybe he's just going until he's out of harm 4 charges, this is definitely a sufficient fight. It looks like he's gaining about a level of fight now at this point. It'll probably taper off, and I think I expect him to stop when he's out of harm 4 charges.
Yeah, probably. This would be the best. This would be the best play. Yeah, I guess Peninsula of Power grinding Zumble would be a good play too, but the fact that they're on foot would mean they have to walk there.
Yeah, I think if you were going to decide to do that pop grind, that should probably have occurred either before or immediately after Biggie while you are in the Provoker region. Going back over there, and especially not having like necessarily a gatekeeper, like Astos was pretty easy. So not having a gatekeeper, I think, dissuades one from going back to pop for any reason. This is more of a play of sufficiency to get just to the minimum point he can be able to start using those level 3 spells to start letting the levels roll in. As we have Maya checking his crown chest now, picking up the adamant. Realistically, he's not that far behind, but thanks to a little level grind by Saltyphry, gives him a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, I think Saltyphry is around level 9 or 10 right now.
I think 10's right. Cheap Pro Ring.
Yeah, Pro Ring and Gold Bracelet, both in a Elfland armor shop.
And so now the play is to move to Elfland Castle. He's going to go check Elfland Castle. Castle Canaria. He's going to go check Castle Canaria and then perhaps Dwarves before figuring out whether he needs to, and Temple of Fiends before he needs to find his TNT to get out of the starting lake that he's in. It looks like Maya has the sufficient level to cast that Ice 3, so he really shouldn't be that far behind.
Ooh, we got the Vorpal in Canaria Castle.
World's sharpest trash can.
So there are like 13 more chests to check.
Salty, it looks like he's heading over to Dwarf Cave. I almost would rather go check Temple of Fiends first. I know it's 3 chests. I know it's locked behind 2 mandatory trap tiles. But if it's there, having to sell back to that's going to feel bad.
Yeah.
but you're playing the numbers at this point because there's 8 chests in Dwarf Cave, 10 if you have not actually been to the Dwarf Cave yet, 10 chests in Dwarf, 3 chests in Temple of Fiends, and then 13 chests in the Marsh Cave. So the numbers suggest it's more likely not in the Marsh Cave, but in an individual dungeon standpoint, it is more likely to be in the Marsh Cave. It's weird how those numbers work that I'm not supposed to do on Twitch.
Okay, we got the ruby.
Oh boy!
I like that.
Now the question becomes, will Salty turn in... Oh, wow, he warped out. He'll be back. He'll be back. He has to go turn in the TNT, so I don't necessarily mind that. And he's going to go check Topher or Temple of Fiends before heading down to the Marsh Cave. So I don't mind the play, but I do kind of wish he had checked, I think, maybe other places before going Dwarf Cave first.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see what's in those 3 locked chests. But right now, this is really starting to feel like a Marsh Cave seed.
Yeah, and with that ruby, it's really going to make you wonder whether the canoe is at Sarda. It's going to be interesting because at this point, the numbers suggest it's Marsh Cave. We've got 2 chests left here, and then 13 chests in the Marsh Cave that we haven't seen yet. As Maya's opting to actually walk this out, I almost like what Saltyphry did a little better, because you're going to have to walk down to Narek anyway. Get yourself that save spot back and head back into a direction of places you haven't been yet.
Alright, let's see. And this is Marsh Cave.
All right, that's it, folks. We've got a marsh dive. So we've got 2 floors of chests to check, and I think a total of 5 floors. 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. There's 4 in the top floor and 9 in the bottom floor. Statistically, one would need to head downstairs first, but we'll see what happens.
This is where this Arm Force spell is gonna come in handy.
So now there are a handful of monsters that I don't think we have seen yet. We have not seen spiders or arachnids. There are mucks, scorpions. We saw the gargoyles. Those are down there. Bones, red bones are down there. There's a whole host of things. Scums are down there that we have not seen yet. This could be a little ugly, especially given the spell selection. With Harm 4 being the best spell against undead, and then Ice 3 for everything else, we'll see how our runners negotiate this.
Yeah, because for now, we haven't seen a lot of really nasty stuff except for the blizzard on those Sahagins.
Thankfully, those are not in the Marsh Cave.
Okay, unrunnable spider, no big deal.
I can't remember if that makes the... I think the B-sides are separated. If that spider's unrunnable, or is unrunnable, I don't know about the arachnid spider poison fight. Oh, shadows as well, but thankfully the ambush shuffle kind of neuter shadows just a little bit, as Salty's going to check the top floor of 4 first. It's easier to check these 4 and reset out if they're not worth it, but the value is on going downstairs.
Okay, scorpions are pretty weak, but they got dazzled.
At least it's not trance. Trance could have been terrible.
Ooh,
We have
unrunnable scums?
scums. They are weak to ice, though, so this is okay.
Yeah, this is okay, but they got very limited charges of Ice 3.
Yeah, I think I saw maybe they got 5 more charges between them. If he has houses, this isn't so bad. If he resets this, it's not so bad. But the big thing is he doesn't have access to exit or warp yet, so it's going to be kind of a longer walk out.
Yeah, and till now we got money and Opal Gauntlet, so nothing really worth walking out.
Yeah, the 12,000 is not bad, but it's also not worth... Yeah, I'd reset.
No. Are we gonna see a key lock TNT?
Or what's behind the wizards? Oh, here's a Bone Crawl. We'll see if they've got anything nice. 7-hit paralysis touch.
Well, this is vanilla, so nothing too bad for now.
A double stun on that fighter.
Saltyphry skipping this first link chest.
Yeah, that link chest will appear in the next room down and to the right, so that first one's skipped a lot by our runner. Thanks to skipping out on the top floor chests, he has restored his charges. He is now down to 5 charges again of Ice 3. So, provided he doesn't hit that fight too many more times, the downside of the Scum fight, as we find our TNT, the downside of the Scum fight is they're very resistant to melee. As he's just gonna nope right out of here. He's gonna take his possessions and go home.
I don't know, considering we haven't seen many nasty stuff inside this cave, I think I would have been tempted to check the outer chests.
Chat, what do you think? Fuchsia, I see you there. Wilcleosis, other runners, other non-tournament runners who have run this before, would you check the rest of the bottom of Marsh Cave while you were down there? As we see, Maya is getting trolled a little bit by one of the elves. Alright, so we got a little bit of a mixed bag here of whether you'd check it or whether you wouldn't check it. It's tough. So far, I haven't seen anything crazy in the Ice Cave, but the Wizard fight's going to be a little tough. Ice 3 should get the job done if you had 2 of them. I think maybe if you're Maya, maybe you get out of there. That fight's going to be a little rougher on you. But you do have access to a few more chests. I don't know. Maybe if you're in Salty's position, you've got some levels. You've got some levels, and the undead fights are pretty easy.
Yeah, I guess he already got 2 good swords, so maybe going out is the right move.
It probably is, if you're talking in terms of pure racing, because about the only thing you could find down there that it would be truly like game-changing, if you will, is probably a ribbon, and that's really about it. Because at this point, you could either find the dragon armor or opal armor, or flame armor is probably sufficient. You've got a sword to your liking. Now, Salty's going to make his way back to the Dwarf Cave. If you guys would recall, or if you're just joining us, the Ruby is actually down in the Dwarf Cave. So the question becomes, will Salty go and check Sarda if Sarda has the canoe? Because the only other place that he can check right now is the Sages all the way down in Crescent Lake. So you could either check Sarda now, or check Sages and perhaps it's not the canoe, and then double back to Sarda, or you can just get that out of the way now. Or if the canoe is at Crescent Lake, then you can move on and check other places, hoping the floater is somewhere easy, and go back to Sarda. Or perhaps Sarda has the floater. That'd be interesting too. Thanks to Edgeworth for pointing out that Narek had passed his explosive safeties class and no longer blows himself up in the process of creating the canal.
I think this is the first time I've seen canal in a long while.
Question chat, why do both have a dead party member? Because in the Swiss flags, it is typically accepted that the black belt is pretty dead weight, because the black belt does not get effective until much higher levels, which requires time on an experience grind that the experience ratios, the 2.4x plus 80 experience per fight, does not grant for the black belt to be truly effective. So it is easier to take black belt's experience and invest it into your fighter and your usually two other mages. Especially red mages gives them more spell charges. Fighter gives them more hits of the higher level swords. Because black belt's going to be pretty useless at least until 21, and there's never a guarantee of getting to 21 with 4 party members. So Salty's going to hit Melman. We're going to probably check the spells here to see if there's anything worth coming back for. So here comes the white magic for level 5. We've got life in a red mage spot, and Viz 2 in a red wizard spot. So 5's not terrible.
Yeah, but black magic are terrible.
That's okay, though, because then we can just make sure we're continuing to invest in the white magic and make sure your life charges and your Invis 2 charges are relatively safe. You don't have to burden them with things like warp or nuke or otherwise.
Saltyphry checking if he had the slab.
Yeah, Maya taking the sensible play and resetting out of that top floor of Marsh Cave. We will see here whether or not Maya checks the rest of the chests in the Marsh Cave.
Yeah, Saltyphry just sold his opal shield.
I think it's a tough call. If you need that money early, just ask Minochi. He'll sell just about anything early.
Well, I mean, I think I'd rather go into TOFR with a flame shield than with the opal shield, to be honest.
Yeah, that flame shield's going to give you the fire resistance, whereas opal is purely absorb. As we do see Salty is going to go check Sarda for the canoe. There's only one of 2 places the canoe can be. It is either with Sarda or it is with the Sages. And so he's getting this one out of the way so that he doesn't have to double back as he's rewarded with the white shirt. He can't equip it, but it'll give him free charges of Invis 2.
Oh, when the chat just pointing out Scorpions had crack.
Oh, that alone I think would cause me to run out the TNT when I found it.
Yeah.
And
all right,
Maya
let's
not wasting any time. Here we go. What does Sarda have?
The slab.
Oh, that's going to cost only a little bit of time, as one would normally check that with the floater. But he could at least save maybe a little time by walking the slab over to Dr. Un while he is here. Now we will find out whether or not Maya runs this TNT out or whether he checks the rest of the dungeon.
Well, Maya knows that the Scorpions have cracks, so I'm guessing he's gonna head out as soon as he can find a TNT.
And I mean, I think based on that risk alone, that is probably the right play.
Yeah.
And here come what I think were the stun Gerwolves. We'll see. They seem to be pretty.
Yeah, they have
the
days.
damage department. Ooh. And mine looks like he's noping right out of here. So, benefit of hindsight, we know that Sarda is not the canoe. So Maya can make up a little bit of time here if he skips Sarda and goes right to the Sages. It's a tough and tempting call. I don't know if he makes that call or not.
I would say
Wilkliosis.
It would depend if he feels like he's behind or not.
Yeah, that's definitely, because you gotta feel like the game has not been going too terribly bad. I don't know if you feel like Salty's ahead of you, because you definitely know this has just been a weird and wacky seed having to go to Marsh Cave, and like, oh, Salty had to have done all this. Maybe you don't feel so behind unless you feel like you've not played fully right. Question in chat: sign of a vendor item. I haven't seen it yet. It could be the floater at Crescent Lake. Who knows?
Or even better, it could be the floater at Unrack.
That would be awesome. Or even better, floater could be in Waterfall Cave and we don't have exit or warp.
We got unrunnable cobras and scorpions.
Yeah, that's the scorpions with crack are definitely not going to be pleasant if you're trying to get around the Crescent Lake area.
Yeah. Especially when they're unrunnable. Ooh, a lot of unrunnables outside of Crescent Lake.
Trolls being trolls, though this is an encounter I believe that is going to occur down in Earth B4 as well, so keep that in mind as our runners go through the Earth Cave. This is going to be one of those encounters that slows them down a little bit. Alright, chat, little audience participation. What do the sages have? Get your votes in quickly. We got Cure 4 in Red Wizard learnable spots. That's really nice. And only Quad X. Warp is not available to the Red Wizard.
Alright, let's see. The canoe.
Oh, is this even shuffled?
I'm kinda disappointed.
Well, that opens up the world slightly here. I say slightly. It opens up the world a fair bit. We now have access to 4 incentivized items. One is in the Ice Cave, one is in Castle Ordeals, one is potentially the buyable item if it is in either the Caravan or an Onrack, and then we have the Waterfall Cave. All 4 of those places are where the floater could possibly be. One of the more interesting things is money's been a little bit of a premium in this game. If we see a max price floater, it's going to be interesting to see how our runners end up responding to that.
So where do you go first? I think I would be tempted to go Ordeals.
I think I'm actually inclined to agree with that. With Ice 3 being your... Oh, we have Odd Eyes with Toxic! The seas are not safe, folks. I am inclined to agree.
Yeah, especially considering Ordeals is much faster to reach when you only get the ship and the canoe than any other locations. Although we already know the seas are dangerous.
In some weird way, Ordeals sometimes feels easier to do as a lower level. It's probably the length of the dungeon itself, but it tends to be more friendly if you're a lower level. Plus, you've got Harm 4 to cover these Zombo packs, as we see Salty fighting now. Zombo packs or the Mummy packs or what have you, you can get across those easily. Ice 3 will take care of just about everything else but the Red Goyles. Hopefully you can run from those. Ordeals tends to be a friendlier dungeon to do. So we got Salty navigating the maze relatively effortlessly. Here's the Red Goal fight. They are runnable, thankfully. They're very elemental magic resistant. Even Ice 3 doesn't really do a whole lot against them. So it's good to see that that fight is runnable. The bigger challenge is going to come up with this Nightmare fight. We'll see if he can get away from it or if he's going to encounter it. And then he's going to have to take on the zombie dragons at the end with the lack of exit and warp.
Yeah, but still, he got 2 characters with Arm 4, so this zombie dragon shouldn't be too much of a hassle. While Saltyphry find the opal bracelet.
Definitely a great pickup there. That 3 sorcerer fight is also kind of an underrated fight in terms of the experience. It's worth slightly more than 1 Agama. Actually, a bit more than 1 Agama. Mage Staff's another good pickup.
Yep, and the rod. So no
right.
floater in ordeals.
Scratch that one off your list. So here's an interesting question. You're in the ordeals area. You probably are going to go check on-rack and caravan for the buyable item. Do you go to the waterfall cave? Maybe you can go in there and get some levels or something, but you're definitely going to be walking that out. As unfortunately we see Maya going and doing Sarda. It's very tempting, but it's unfortunately not going to save him any time, as he's going to come to the same conclusion that Salty did, and it's just going to be the slab.
Meanwhile, Saltyphry noticing that the zombie dragons got quite a lot of HP.
Yeah, and unfortunately that means they're, even with Harm 4, they're really not going to be grind friendly. Sometimes you may want to grab maybe level 13, maybe level 14 if the zombie dragons were friendly. Unfortunately, they're not, so he's going to probably just have to seek and find his levels elsewhere.
Yeah, I think he's going to check the Oasis and probably unrack shop.
Yeah, you almost have to, because I think those are the last two locations you can physically check to see if it's the buyable item. If he does not find the buyable item is not the floater. So it's going to be interesting to see if that pops up here, because the only other item location is Gaia, and the airship is required to get there.
This is the bottle.
And there are some cheap tents that Salty's going to pick up, no longer spending $322 gold a piece on cabins, but rather 54 piece for tents. That's a good pickup for him. So you've got your buyable item. Is he going to go waterfall? It looks like he thought about it for a second, and he is heading there. So
I feel like this is a good play. I mean, you're right there. You know, well, nightmares are weak against ice, mummies are weak to arm and fire, so why not? I mean, only like mud golems could be a problem.
Yeah, I think the big question is that there's really only one, maybe there's two technically potentially high value experience fights there, and that's dependent on the number of whiz mummies you get in a fight and whether or not you get that gas dragon fight. Otherwise, unfortunately, you're gonna have to go in and out of this, I suppose, because we've seen that warp is out of range. We've not seen exit yet. It looks like this is just going to have to be run in and out. Salty may as well do it while he's in the region.
This is still faster than going all the way back to Ice Cave. And right now there's like 1 in 2 chances that Floater is gonna be in the Waterfall Cave, so might as well try. Okay, you reset all of this mud golem fight.
Yeah, so if I remember right, we should be down to 2 incentive locations, 2 incentive items. We've got the Waterfall Cave item and the Ice Cave item. Now that we know the buyable item is the bottle in on-rack. And we are missing the tail and the floater at this point.
Yep. So this could be a vanilla floater. We should know soon enough.
You know, I wonder, wow, we've got a small break in the action. Maya's characters are named after developers. Nasir, the original developer of Final Fantasy, and then Entroper, Nitz, and Meridian are a few of our developers on staff. I wonder if Maya's trying to send a message about Nasir being dead and the new developers taking over and making Final Fantasy better.
We're gonna have to ask him after the race. Alright, we're about to see what the robot is hanging on to. It's either gonna be the tail or the floater. We all know Salty won the floater. But we also know we all want the tail.
We all want the tail. That means it's going to be an ice cave dive that could be particularly unfriendly. Oh, the mage staff on the Paralisk feels bad, man. Survey says, oh, and he gets 15. Unfortunately, he's going to lose out on that first charge. If I remember right, life was at level 3 or 4.
And we got the tail.
We got the tail.
All right, I like that.
So now the question for Maya is, what order is Maya going to do these things in? It almost looks like he's trying to take a step-for-step reshoot of everything that Salty did. I think it looks like he's heading for Castle Ordeals now. Regionally, I almost expect him to hit up on rack and whatnot after that.
Yeah, he couldn't make up a lot of time if he went to Ice Cave, but there's no way he could know, so he's probably going to check pretty much the same order as Salty did.
Yeah, I think that's we talked about that earlier. I think that's the best play for the levels that you would gain, the access and capability of doing those dungeons. It's definitely something that it's no surprise to me that Maya's following in his footsteps.
But now the question is, if you're Saltyphry, you know the very last key item you're getting is the floater. Do you feel like you're behind?
Man, that's such a tough call, because you know you're picking up your floater last, but at the same time, you almost feel like the seed was drawing you in these directions away from the floater.
Yeah.
It's such a tough call because I think any earlier in Ice Cave would be so difficult. I mean, Harm 4 and Ice 3 are your lead spells. That wouldn't suggest Ice Cave at all. In fact, the only thing I think that would put Salty behind is if he thought Maya were going to do Volcano and get his levels and take his shot at carry first before checking those incentivized, or the other incentivized chests.
But still, no, the very first item you really want to get is the floater. This is the item that makes or breaks a run.
Definitely, and both of these runners have a lot that they're playing for tonight. Both of them are 3-0. The winner gets a bye from the play-in race at 4-0, where the loser has one more shot to earn that fourth win and get that bye. But the first winner tonight, the winner tonight will join Minochi and Fuchsia Fantasy in punching their ticket to the bracket stage of the playoffs. So a lot on the line for a seed to have a floater be your very last item.
Alright, so it seems Saltyphry is probably going to go Ice Cave next.
Yeah, it's a tough call, because I had almost... that's really tough, because I can't remember. Chat, help me out. Where was life? Was it 3 or 4? Because if it's 3, the levels are going to matter on that fighter. If it's 4, they're absolutely not going to matter at all, as it looks like Salty is making that beeline for the Ice Cave. If the levels don't matter, I almost wonder if you went and hit up Volcano and just got that done. I just don't like the spell list for Ice Cave. I'd almost want a few more levels to make up for that.
Don't they have Fire 3, I think, level 4? I might be wrong, but I think I saw Fire 3 somewhere.
Okay. Level 4 is going to be, let's see here. Red Mage gets level 4s, I think, at 11 or 12. So, they should have, they're 15, so they should have sufficient charges of Fire 3. That'll definitely help. Definitely glad that both of our runners did not attempt, well, I don't know if I'm glad, but neither of our runners attempted Ice Cave any earlier than right now.
Yeah, it would have been rough if they went earlier.
Oh, they do have that Mage's Staff. I'm now seeing that Maya has just picked up his. They do have that Mage's Staff. That's going to help them get through.
And as Saltyphry opens his spell list, I just remember that Fire 3 is good, but it's on the same tier as Life 2.
Ooh. You don't want to burn too many of those. Question, did Maya check Sarda? Yes, Maya checked Sarda first before heading to Crescent Lake. Sarda is the green wizard, whereas the sage is the red wizard. Now it looks like Maya's going to go ahead and hit the on-rack waterfall combo.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Maya is not going to... Oh, something had glare over there. The fighter's down.
Images got glare.
Uh-oh, Maya's going to check Caravan first. This is going to be a small setback.
Okay, well, Images got glare, but at least a simple cast of Mage Staff is enough to kill them all.
Maya realizing that it is not at the Caravan, resetting back and checking the on-rack item shop, and there is our bottle.
Which he can't afford right now.
He cannot afford it. He's got to, and there's no weapons or armor shops tier either. Maya, unfortunately, has to come back later. But at least he knows, oh, and he's going to have to double dip this area again because you can't go to the Sea Shrine without the bottle. Hopefully, and I don't remember what the items were as we see Salty pick up a Thor hammer down in the Ice Cave. I don't remember what was in the Waterfall Cave, but hopefully it's about 7,000 gold at this point. Otherwise, Maya's going to have to make a second trip and then out and back for a third trip to go to the Sea Shrine. That's just time that's going to set you back.
Saltyphry killing the pack of Frost Wolf, being rewarded with a wooden staff.
Oh, feels bad, man.
Oh, the raids have bear. I thought it was the Images.
So they got a Mage Staff and a Thor Hammer now. That's at least going to spread his damage capabilities a little bit for monsters that are strong against ice. A little helpful, but because it's only the second tier of those spells, it's probably not as helpful as some other spells. But with the spell damage selection being kind of poor this game, sometimes I think you'll take what you can get.
Alright, Saltyphry about to pick up his floater. And he's going to grind the eye a little bit.
I don't think I mind this play. Levels have always been a premium in this, and so maybe grabbing 1 or 2 key levels here could prove helpful for him.
Yeah, especially considering the low-level spells are not going to help his knight at all, so...
Yeah, definitely. If he's not concerned about those fighter levels, I'm not concerned about those fighter levels. He can do whatever he wants. If he can get to 18 here, it perhaps is a good thing. As Maya's discovering that the robot has the tail, it looks like he might have picked up the money needed to buy the bottle. Plus, the fights that he's taking hopefully are going to help him out as well.
Okay, chat confirming that he got like 8,000 gills from the chest.
That's good. That'll keep him from having to revisit the area with more money later.
Also, we briefly saw the out-of-bound bat.
Sometimes the bats are funny in this game and they just go where they want. You did see Maya had about 20,000 gold total there, so that's going to be good for him to pick up that bottle.
Okay, so Saltyphry is out of the ice cave, and I kinda know where he's going next.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got to turn in that floater, cash in that tail, check some more Cardia Islands, and then I think he's got to feel like he's got to start knocking down some fiends. So we see Salty, for those of you who may be new to the Final Fantasy Randomizer experience, we see Salty doing a little bit of what we call encounter manipulation. If he knows a particular set of encounters is coming at certain points, like he knows how many steps that he has in the overworld, he will make a save point with his tents or his cabins at a certain point and then reset his game when he encounters these things. If he knows where the long runs are in his encounter table, this allows him to favorably move across the world with as limited interruption as possible.
So, Salty getting his airship at the 58-minute mark.
Time to go cash in all those things that you have. Get that. Probably I'd get that. Go ahead and get that chime while you're here since you had your slab translated so long ago.
Yeah, this is where he's going next.
So we'll see where Maya goes here. Maya's got a couple of options at his disposal. He can go to the ice cave and go ahead and get that floater and follow in Saltyphry's footsteps like he's pretty much been doing all game. Or he could route diverge over to Volcano and not carry out, check the items that are there. It won't get him the floater, but he's already in the area, and if he feels like he can move across the water favorably, then he can certainly run a knockout carry real quick before heading to ice to get his floater.
We're gonna know right there. He's going to ice cave.
I don't fault him for that, certainly, because you'd love to have that floater, and you'd love to go check Cardia Islands or something for a mass immune or something bigger.
Did Salty check Cardia Island yet?
I don't think he has. I think he literally went right to... I think he went right to Gaia and right to here, and I think I expect him to travel west to head over to Cardia Island. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. So let's see what the dragons were keeping. Okay, the ice armor is a good pick.
A lot of money there.
Meanwhile, Maya noticing that wizards have stun touch.
Just a Zeus Gauntlet. It looks like ice armor might be the big item pulled from Cardia Islands. Kind of dry.
Yeah, Zeus Gauntlet is not that good, especially when you already got the Thor Hammer.
I almost expect Salty to go C while we're here. He's got his Oxyl. He's got the ability to land over there. He's already within the region. I almost expect him to go C at this point. He's got the levels. He now has some armor to equip, some weapons to equip. I almost expect him to go C at this point.
Yeah, and he's got two Lightning 2 items. Well, there's still one island to check. Still only money. Oh, and a black shirt.
As if you didn't need any more castable items in this game.
Yeah, well, you got them all now.
I think
As
we're
far
still
as-
missing the Bane Sword.
Alright. Well, I mean, as far as damage dealing items go, you got them all.
And Salty looks like he's going to follow my advice, and he is heading for the Sea Shrine. They also don't have any light axes, I don't think.
Alright, Light Axe. I always forget about this one.
Sometimes light axe is good, but I think at this stage in the game, it's probably a negligible pickup.
Yeah, especially when you already got Mage Staff and 2 characters that can cast Arm 4. And here comes the unrunnable Sahagin pack. The most annoying pack in the entire game, in my opinion. Not
Yeah,
the
if you
most
heard-
dangerous, but really, really annoying.
Yeah, if you guys are new and didn't hear my explanation last game, to save on space, there's an A side and a B side to every encounter that you see. The A side, B side are usually the same fight, but maybe with more monsters. In this particular case, we have the unrunnable shuffle, which shuffles all of the unrunnable encounters that are normally throughout the game to random encounters throughout. The only problem is we can't transfer the unrunnable off of the pirates fight, which is side A, thus meaning the side B is the Red Sahag Wiz Sahag fight. That must stay unrunnable. So this is actually the one and only predictable unrunnable encounter in the game.
I think somebody pointed out in chat that iron golems are always unrunnable because they share the encounter with Garland.
Has anybody ever actually seen an iron golem? I think they're more elusive than the T-Rex, which I also have not seen.
Oh, Maya just got glared to death.
And someone, amazing Ampharos1 pointing out in chat, we still haven't found any ribbons yet. That is going to be a big deal because we also, I don't think, have seen the wall spell either.
Well, if Saltyphry got ribbons, we might have missed it. I don't know if it...
They've step for step just about checked all the same chests. I don't think either of them have ribbons yet. Oh, here come the glares again. The Salty is checking Trenton's Sharknado room. Salty is lagging a little bit, so I think he's probably picking up some items we haven't seen as this lobster fight is unrunnable.
Yeah, at least they don't have Blizzard this time.
No, but they did hit that bottom red mage for 128, so that's never pleasant.
Yeah, and they also got Poison Touch.
And it's 3-hit Poison Touch, so it's more likely to land.
Joker's lady holding out 3 ribbons. Yeah. All ribbons at the Mermaid Village.
That would be an interesting play because without exit, it makes mermaids less desirable to do. We'll see if either of our runners opt to go for the mermaids because getting down and back is going to be a little rough.
I'm calling it. There was a ribbon in Marsh Cave.
That also would be interesting.
Well, sadly, we'll never know.
Maya just opting to blitz right through the earth cave, or the ice cave chests. I think he's definitely has to feel like he's behind at this point, because he's in the same spot of not having any ribbons. Yet, he's just sort of blitzing through as if he feels like perhaps he's behind. As Saltyphry is going to give us our first look at the Kraken 1 encounter.
And there goes the glare again.
As Saltyphry, oh, and Kraken opens with fast. Never a good sign.
Oh my god. Yeah, use this white shirt.
Yeah, he does resurrect that black belt. Hopefully that black belt eats the first hit after casting this next white shirt. Oh, we got a little bit of lag there. We couldn't see what the knight hit for. And that's it. You know what, chat? I missed all that because of the lag, but let's go ahead and assume that was a Bane kill, because I saw him loading a couple of those up. Yeah, unfortunately, please bear with us and our apologies. There's not a whole lot we could do on the lag, as unfortunately the lag is coming from Saltyphry's side. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that was a Bane strat kill on Kraken 1. So he lights his first orb, and he is going to move back to Melman, check the spells, and probably hit up Lich at this point.
So Maya finally got his floater, trying to escape this extremely dreadful ice cave.
Yeah, and Sports Jeffy pointing out he's probably freaked out. You're probably right. It definitely is not a good thing to find that floater at the 70-minute mark, or at least be able to start walking out with your float at the 70-minute mark. But he's already wiped at least once, if not twice, knowing that he's got to walk this thing out. He finally makes it out, seemingly encounter-free. Is a pretty big hero run right there. But after the wipes and whatnot, he definitely has to feel behind at this point.
And here comes the unrunnable troll encounter in Earth Cave. Okay, Saltyphry is still going to check some chest. Most probably looking for ribbons.
Most likely, those chests are kind of in the way, as we've got these arachnids in heat. That's it's tough when you need to kill them with fire.
He does not hit for much, but when you got 7 of them casting it, it piles up pretty fast.
Yeah, those first 3 chests in the upper right corner of B2 of Earth are kind of on the way for a lot of our runners, but they'll skip the second one because it requires 2 Earth fights to get in and out of. So the one on the right over there is relatively free, as well as this one up here is free, which actually Salty's going to skip that one. So, all right, it probably had a ribbon.
Yeah, let's just assume it was. Also, I would be tempted to look into chest even if they are guarded by Earth Elementals, simply because with the shuffled unrunnable, you might be able to just run away from those Earth.
It is true, or one of the things that was demonstrated in the Split Punch match, Split Punched Hangry Canuck. Split Punch actually forgot the trap tile was, there was a trap tile in front of one of the chests in Earth B3, and went in there with the Mass Immune and just one-shot the Earth, and had Edgeworth and I asking, is that a valuable chest to check? Because as fast as they took out the Earth, it's kind of on the way. And then Split Punch comes in and says, actually, I forgot the trap tile was there. So now we don't even know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm still looking for important stuff, I like to check the chest Saltyphry just passed by. It's like 5 steps, only 1 Earth Elemental guarding it, and when you're level like 16, this Earth Elemental is not much of a problem.
Yeah, and I see Tristal MTG in chat. I think Tristal pioneered us checking the chest on the north end of that B3 as well, because realistically, I think it's only about 4 or 5 actual steps to check that chest up in the north part of B3 there. Makes it relatively free and easy to check, and nobody did it until I think Tristal started doing it, and now I think many of our runners do. Saltyphry skipped that one, but I don't believe that's the norm.
Also, ichbinmiah finally got his airship at the 1 hour and 10 minutes mark, which is 12 minutes after Saltyphry did.
Yeah, unfortunately at this rate, Maya's probably 2 solid dungeons down. With Saltyphry about to finish off Lich here, and Maya have not yet even seen a fiend dungeon yet. Salty might even get a little ways into the volcano before Maya can get around to starting a dungeon somewhere.
Well, as usual, this Lich is not gonna be much of a problem.
He does get a luckily runnable troll encounter on the way out.
Yeah, and at the 1 hour and 14-minute marks, he's got his second orb. Meanwhile, Maya is still looking for his first one. Alright, while both are just doing some shopping, let's just recap the key items, shall we?
Alrighty, so to open the game, the crown and the... Oh, so yeah, this is why Trenton writes everything down.
Oh wait, I did. Actually, so yeah, at the beginning we found out that Sarah got the crown and the king got the loot. The pirates at the cube, Sarda at the slab. Both runners found the ship in one of the first 3 chests in Temple of Fiend, which led to a deep dive into Marsh finding the TNT. The sages at the vanilla canoe. We got the vendor item in Onrak, which was the bottle for 13k. Ordeals at the rod, the robot as the tail. And the floater was in his vanilla location in the bottom of Ice Cave.
The spell selection has been a little slim. We had Temper and Fast at 1, which is great for a melee seed, but unfortunately we have Harm 4 at 2, Ice 3 at 3, Fire 3 at 4. That's kind of been about it in what is a red mage heavy, very few black mages. As you can see, our black belt was forced. Both our runners chose to put the black belt to sleep. Some lucky, good spell placements allow the red wizards to use Life 2 at level 4. We have not found any ribbons yet, though, so that's probably the most interesting thing about this seed so far. Otherwise, it's not been too terribly trolly. The glare rates were about it.
Yeah, and the cracked scorpions.
Ah, yes, I did forget about the cracked scorpions. They only affected Maya, though. Yeah. Like everything else.
Yeah, I think it was Maya who discovered the toxic odd eyes. But yeah, there was not much in the armory except for the gold bracelet.
And Salty's going to skip the 5 in the northwest corner of the room. We are still looking for at least 1 ribbon. Someone said Wall was at 4. Was that White Mage usable only? Or because level 4 is that Life 2, Fire 3 level as well?
Ooh, we got unrunnable Agamas.
So we've got both Maya and Salty in the volcano, with Maya being only a little ways behind him. Unfortunately, in terms of story progression or quest progression, Maya is 2 full dungeons, 2 full orbs down, as well as partially behind here in the volcano. In order to make this up, Salty might need to take a wipe at Temple of Fiends at this point.
Yeah, but we never know. This could happen. I mean, we haven't come across many nasty stuff coming from the regular enemies, so maybe they are all waiting inside Temple of Fiend.
We've got our tank stun locked here on Saltyphry's side. The big melee weapon damage dealer is currently taking a knee at the moment.
Exactly, that's why TOFR is the great equalizer.
Doesn't look like she's doing a whole lot of damage to that fighter, but that fighter isn't doing any damage back, so comes a quad X. Looks like it was successful. So Saltyphry has lit his third orb. Maya is right behind him, attempting to light his first.
And Salty is not gonna waste any time heading straight toward this fourth orb. He already got this chime, he already got his cube. And he's going to kill this Tyro. He decided to feed his warrior. That is great.
Ooh, and only about maybe 500 or less HP. Not bad one-round kill for that Tyro. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and do it a little early just because we missed it last game, and our humblest apologies during Game 1, during the first game between Wilcleosis and Edgeworth. But get ready to start putting your Bless RNGs in chat for that Warmech, because we didn't, and a Warmech surprised us. So we find a ribbon in Mirage Tower. There is our first ribbon for Saltyphry.
Ribbon and Dragon Armor. This was a loaded first floor.
And this is a great first floor to check. It's 8 densely packed chests. Even if you feel like you're in go mode, checking first floor is not always a bad play. And so we've got our first orb for Maya taking out Carrie. We'll see where Maya heads next. I expect him to go to the Earth Cave, but we'll see where he ends up.
So, just in comparison, Saltyphry got his first orb lit at the 1 hour and 9 minutes mark, while ichbinmiah lit his first at the 1 hour and 21 minutes mark, so this is still a 12-minute difference.
I guess we could be thankful for that because it's 12 minutes it's a Temple of Fiends wipe separating them, but that gap didn't get bigger, so that's probably a big, huge benefit for ichbinmiah.
Yeah, it went pretty smooth for ichbinmiah after he managed to get out of Ice Cave.
So now Maya's in Melman buying spells. I almost expected to head to Lich at this point, but it looks like he's making a liar out of me, flying away. As we can see, the 3-man strats are paying off for Saltyphry. Saltyphry's made it to 22 on at least 2 of his runners. 22 is a good level for going into Temple of Fiends. It's nearing time, folks. I think when he gets to 3F, we'll go ahead and make those Bless RNGs, so get them ready. He's still checking chests. 1 ribbon must not be good enough for him. I think he's checking chests. Look like he's heading to the east side. Yeah, he's heading to the east side of this room.
Yeah, well, those are 5 really close chests one to one another, so why not checking them? Yeah, I mean, he's gotta be still looking for ribbons.
Yeah, you've got your power out, you've got your white shirt. Defense sword is nice, but I don't think anyone really feels like that's got to be a requirement, especially. Did we have an Invis 2 at like level 1 or something like that?
I think it was on the previous race, right?
Oh, yeah, these races tend to blend together sometimes.
Yeah, Invis 2 is level 5.
5, yes, yep, okay.
Ooh, another ribbon. Saltyphry just found his second ribbon.
Yep, and now you can pretty much put one on a Red Mage, one on a Knight, and you should feel pretty satisfied at this point with at least 2. Certainly 3 is the optimal number of ribbons if you don't have wall, but 2, you got to feel like you can bring your party back from the dead or otherwise.
Yeah, I feel like this should be go mode from now on. Or Saltyphry. I mean, right now the only really thing you would need is either the 3rd ribbon or the Aegis shield. Otherwise, he's got good weapons, he got good armors.
He's got good levels.
Yep. You haven't got good spells though.
Nope, and I expect fully melee heavy against these bosses, so hopefully some of those ice 3s and whatnot will get the job done. Question chat from Future Fantasy, what are Salty's levels? He's 22, I want to say.
Yeah, I think he is.
And this rock goal fight is another experience-rich fight, so he'll get probably 3,000 apiece or so, 3,000 for each of his party members. Make that 2, as the rock goals just chunked out one of his red mages.
And also, even if the spells aren't great, he got like 16 charges of Fast and Tempers. That should be plenty enough for all of the 3 final Fiends and Chaos, because you don't care about casting Temper on Lich.
No, we never take Lich seriously.
This might be the only Fiend that gets weaker with the randomizer.
And Zardia coming in high with the 11 bits. What is up, Zar? Thanks for rolling this seed. This ship-required seed floater in vanilla. But both of our runners making it the last possible place to check. Kind of craziness from our fearless leader there. And as you can see there, with our Discord in chat, if you feel like this is something that interests you, if you are new to Final Fantasy Randomizer, if you stumbled upon this because AGDQ is getting a little tiresome, we certainly want to welcome you here. If Final Fantasy Randomizer is something that interests you, feel free to give our Discord a follow, as we missed the Blast RNGs once again, and now one has appeared for Saltyphry. My goodness, I need to stop monologuing.
I'm starting to feel like the best way to get a War Mech is not praying for him.
That's probably it. The first rule of War Mech Club is we do not talk about War Mech Club.
And yeah, unrunnable War Mech.
Who said unrunnable War Mech in chat earlier? I saw it. I know I did. Someone said unrunnable War Mech like 3 minutes ago. There's Inferno. That's one of those power skills. And I get the feeling if Maya knows about the encounter table the way Salty knows about the encounter table, we might see a War Mech sighting, as Salty effortlessly downs the War Mech and just keeps moving. He's now got level 24 on there. Thanks, Cyclone. You're doing a wonderful job. Anyway, give our Discord a follow.
Yeah, and give both runners a follow too.
Yes, and if you like the action that you see, feel free to give Speed Gaming and its auxiliary channels a follow. Huge props to Cyclone for restreaming us both of our matches tonight and just hanging out with us. Thanks for letting us put our community on display. Certainly much appreciated. If you like what you see, give Speed Gaming a follow. They have all kinds of content for you to absorb. Anything Speed Gaming, anything Randomizer, it's full of good stuff.
No, I'm not sure why, but Maya decided to resurrect his black belt before the vampire fight.
I think he may want that black belt to gain some levels and be able to eat a hit or two of perhaps like a lit 2 or something like that. If he stays level 2 and the goal of the black belt is to eat a very large hit from, say, Kraka 2. If Kraka 2 opens with a lit 2 and that black belt's level 2, that black belt's going to go down and you're not going to get that maximum usage out of him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It looks like Salty attempted the same thing. Or at least he got a bunch of those levels from Tiamat. One of the two. So we've got I think Salty's going to do a little shopping, it looks like, and then he's going to make his way over to Temple of Fiends. Bit of a slower seed. This definitely has not been one of the faster ones. If you watched Edgeworth Wilkliosis, the winning time came in at, I think, 1:23. So our runners have not even stepped foot in Temple of Fiends at the 1:31 mark. That should give you an indication of how the seed has been going if you are just now joining us.
Yeah, sometimes you just get really, really fast seed, and pretty much everything comes down to how Temple of Fiend is going to go.
As we now have Maya on the Lich 1 fight. Unfortunately, the two dungeons he is behind are the two bigger dungeons of Sea and Sky. Salty has a good cushion in case something happens here in Temple of Fiends. Certainly he's going to want to get to the end of it as fast as possible, but he does have a little room should something happen.
He can get like one wipe and maybe still be in front, depending on if this wipe come at the end of Kraken or Chaos.
Yeah, this is definitely something I learned kind of from my match with Tyrannex, is you take a wipe, just assume your opponent is ahead of you. We have the benefit of hindsight, but always assume that your opponent has at least played you equally to the point where if you wipe, assume they're ahead of you and always act as if they were ahead of you. Because we can see with the benefit of hindsight, third-party view, that Saltyphry is probably ahead by a fairly large amount. A wipe would probably still keep him ahead. But I don't believe Saltyphry believes that in the slightest. He's got to feel like Maya's right behind him, and so you definitely don't want to see a wipe come up here.
Yeah, well, I always assume my opponent is ahead of me, so this is why I tend to rush things. But still, I don't think Saltyphry have any good reasons to feel like he would be behind. I mean, he had no wipes. He got the floater late, but this was like the logical path to take anyway.
Yeah, the only reason I would think remotely is that anybody would be behind is if you thought Maya went to ice first. I don't know that that's a reasonable assumption, because like I said earlier in the match, the spell allotment really did not encourage one to go to ice first, and in fact, it really more encouraged one to go ice last, because we thought Castle Ordeals was the correct play. It turns out it was the Rod. So you sail over to Onrak. Onrak has the viable item. You figure, all right, you're not going to get Warp or Exit. Go ahead and hit up Waterfall. It's not Waterfall. I think those are all very reasonable plays that I think one could assume the other one made. And it comes down to that spell selection, I believe, because they didn't have the levels to really make Ice Cave very effective. The only other thing I can think of is whether or not Salty felt behind for the very small eye grind that he did. Perhaps taking some extra time to do that grind is not advisable. And we've got Maya buying single tents at the caravan. Thinking he's just enough to get to on-rack and back.
Yeah. Yeah, he was running out. Okay, we're about to see Lich 2.
I think if you had the charges, I don't mind a fast here. Temper might be a little much, but you don't want to see that nuke. If he has it, you don't want to see him drop it. One hit kill, there we go.
Oh boy, I just realized that Maya did not turn out the bottle. He just bought it.
Oh no! I thought Maya had the money out of the last waterfall trip. He must have just forgot. That's probably a couple minutes setback there, because he's gonna have to walk back to his ship, walk back to their ship, fly over to Gaia, walk to the back of Gaia.
Yeah, and he's probably going to do Sky Castle while he is there. He already
That
got
would not
the
be a
chime.
bad play. Not a bad call. If you're in the region, knock that out so that you don't have to travel back to this area. I might have liked to have seen him do it earlier when he got that slab translated before going to Onrak. Just do that first.
Yeah, so ichbinmiah was 2 dungeons behind, but he still had to get his chime and he still had to get his oxyale. So this is a much bigger setback.
Meanwhile, we're on carry 2 over here for Saltyphry. And Saltyphry takes out carry. When you could hit for 714 in one swing, just about anything is going to go down in front of you. We'll see how he negotiates the water floor.
Yeah, the first real boss is about to come by.
Yeah, don't let cleaving through the bosses fool you. A first turn nuke, nuclear, second turn nuke, nuclear, could be very devastating for any run.
Or just a Kraken that decide to slap your fighter for 800. I mean, a knight with the Excalibur can one-shot even a boss like Kraken 2, but Kraken 2 can do the exact same thing to your knight.
Yeah, and if you've got a non-caster, non-skill friendly Kraken where all he's favorable to melee, you're 3 hits and 3 out. I've seen 3 hit, 3 out, 4 hit, 4 out, restart. Sometimes you may not be able to stack the Invis charge on fast enough.
Well, Saltyphry keeps getting ambushed by lobsters, sea snake, trolls.
One of those had glance as well. I think it might have been the sea trolls.
Maybe I did not see that, but I might have missed it. I mean, skill-wise, the enemies have not been that nasty in this seed.
No, it's been fairly clean from a enemy skill standpoint, with the exception, and Maya would certainly take exception to this, with the glare
Rates.
the toxic odd eyes, the blizzard sahags.
And down goes the black belt.
That's okay. He did his job. He was supposed to eat the opening hit. Oh, 6 hits for probably 300 something. Not bad, but he can't take that again.
Yeah, he's gonna cure 4.
Temper comes out. More stacks. Hopefully the big hit fighter. Looks like that cure 4 went off, and big hit fighter does his job. Boy, Saltyphry is just carving right through Temple of Fiend's bosses here. No skill scene, just melee.
And no fights between Kraken and Tiamat.
Solid hero run here.
I think I recall something from last year's tournament. Maybe it was Shailesia. And there was like the mother of all hero walk. There was no fight between the Lich 2 and Chaos.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. He went Lich 2, Carry 2, Kraken 2, Tiamat 2, and Chaos one after the other, while Tiamat cast Poison.
Well, that's terrible for the black belt. The rest of the party, the top red mage is down a little bit. Otherwise, they're surviving pretty good. That's 8 hits for something.
Well, that was not enough.
The RNG table shuffle, one of our flags, certainly makes that possible, as the second attack is nuclear. Favorable rolls for the bottom red mage and the knight.
Ooh. And this is gonna be a solo fighter Chaos.
We've got a solo fighter Chaos with, it looks like no defense sword. Do we have the defense? We have the defense sword, don't we? Or was that last game?
I don't recall seeing the defense sword in this seed yet.
So this is going to be an interesting 1v1 match between Saltyphry's Knight and Chaos here.
This is not impossible. Nope, no defense sword.
He should have moved the white shirt over, but even then, I'm not 100% sure how much that would have helped. Maybe he couldn't. Feel like he's a 3 for 136. That's not good.
No, this is not looking good for Saltyphry right now. Unless Chaos rolled really low hit points.
Oh, 1 hit point.
Nope.
Oh, no,
boy.
that was a wipe for Saltyphry. It's okay because he still has, unfortunately, Maya is still checking chest. He actually still has that fairly solid lead. Salty now going to burn some encounters off while he's making his way back. I made a mention earlier about the RNG shuffle, the RNG table shuffle. I wanted actually to do some sort of tutorial video on this, but thanks to developer Meridian BC, he really helped me explain this in such a way that was totally able for me to understand. If you think of the RNG table as a deck of flashcards, and the game, for every step, the game picks up the card and it looks at it and it has a number. And I actually don't know the values of the number, but I'm going to assume it's between 1 and 256. But I don't know. But it's going to look at that number and it's going to say, okay, if you're in the overworld and that number is 10 or less, you get into an encounter. If you're in a regular dungeon and that number is 8 or less, you get into an encounter. And then I think it's 11, 12, 13 for the respected fiends, 11, 12, 13, 14 for the respected fiend floors when Temple of Fiends are visited, and then 24 for the Bridge of Destiny. And so every step that you take, it picks up the card, it looks at it, if it meets a certain value, you get to an encounter. And if it doesn't, it puts it down face up, and like sort of like a new deck, and then it picks the next card up for every step. And it puts that down, and the deck is 256 cards tall. And at the end of that deck, it goes in reverse order. So knowing where the encounter table lies, you could sort of predict up to potentially 512 steps, which I think the amount of steps between the start of Temple of Fiends and Chaos, or at least Chaos' steps, is 461, I believe. If you were good enough to know the encounter table, learn how the encounter table works, you could predict your steps from top to bottom. Oh, and I am correct in chat, 9 through 12 are the numbers. Okay. Carry floor is same as overall. Thank you, Kababesh, also one of our developers, for correcting me on the numbers for that one. But if you think of it as a flashcard deck that is 256 cards tall and repeats itself from back to front, that was actually how I was able to understand how the encounter table works. And so that's how you can get a hero run, is if you happen to have a deck full of large numbers that do not meet the threshold for getting into an encounter.
Yeah, I don't think I'm good enough to remember all that.
And unfortunately, that changes per game. And so one of the interesting things is Salty actually has been burning encounters outside. But what he doesn't know, and what you can't know because the game doesn't generate it for you, is when you take that step that gets you that encounter, the overworld encounter matching number is 10. That number he's burning could be an 8 or a 9. He doesn't, or it could be like a 9 or something. It could be a 9 where he's burning it off, but he could go into the dungeon, and actually you run through that 9 and it doesn't strike the encounter because the threshold is 8. And so unless Salty happens to know that by experience, burning encounters outside of a dungeon is not indicative of how the encounter table is going to go in the dungeon.
So it seems like ichbinmiah have been skipping a few chests in Sky Castle, and sadly we already know that one of those chests was a ribbon.
Yeah, I think he got the one in Mirage 1F and then checked 2F, and I don't think 2F got him anything, and then I think unfortunately he is just kind of blitzing right through.
Yeah, he must feel like he's behind, so this is the correct move, but sadly we all know he skipped the ribbon because of that. Alright, second round of carry 2.
I don't mind the fast. Get that on there just to give yourself a little ease, because you might see something not different in this encounter, but if you only saw spells and didn't see skills, you could be surprised the second pass through.
Well, we won't see much more of carry. And he's ambushed once more by the seafood buffet pack.
Alright, so if my calculations are correct and Maya did the same thing, which he checked Mirage 2F, so there's a possibility he's not going to see the Warmac, or he might see the Warmac in a different spot. Salty burned the encounter and just went. Whereas Maya checked 2F, that throws the encounter table off a little bit. It pushes you a little farther back when you arrive at certain points. There's a certain level of predictability to it when you see one runner pass through. If you know there's a favorable encounter 1 or even encounter 3, where you know that a runner's going to reset or power cycle the table. Power cycling the table resets the deck to its original position. And that's what Saltyphry has been doing, from getting like a favorable, I think it's Overworld Encounter 3 or something like that. It's a fairly favorable run. Maya probably did the same thing, except he went to Mirage 2F, which pushes back all those step counts. It might be favorable to figure out in your practices and stuff like that, how far is 256 steps? Well, once you figure out how far 256 steps are, you can start to see, oh, okay, when I reach this point, I'm at the reverse of that table. And like Hangry Canuck just said, if you walk into the 256 step on a long encounter, you're going to have that long encounter going backwards on the way through. So those kind of things are good to learn, even at the smallest levels. So we've got one red mage down for Saltyphry again, and here comes the Bane. And the other red mage is down now.
Oh boy, this is bad.
And now the black belt's down, and we are back to the man mode fight between Knight and Kraken.
Yeah, but the thing is, we already know Tiamat 2 is no pushover. Well,
Oh,
we're not
and
gonna see her.
that is Salty's second wipe. This now officially, depending on how long it takes Maya to get through this fight and over, this now puts Maya only a couple of minutes behind, as I'm assuming Salty's going to go ahead and dive right back into Temple of Fiends. So the distance is now going to be, how long can Maya take to get to Temple of Fiends?
Well, you still need to clear Sea Shrine.
Oh, that's right. I did forget that. Man, Maya has afforded Salty a lot of time here.
Although, Sea Shrine can be cleared in like 3 to 4 minutes if you don't check any chests.
Yeah, despite being kind of a larger dungeon, the route straight to Kraken is pretty straightforward. I'm wondering about Salty taking some of these fights because he can't warp exit out. You know, it's not experience he gets to keep. Yes, it might be nice to get a couple of levels here and there, but he is sacrificing a little time to be able to do that. And that's the beauty of Kraken 2. He knows exactly where your life casters are, regardless of what position you put them in.
Yeah, and he's going to target them. So I think if I was Saltyphry after wiping twice, I would be tempted to check those 2 validation chests just in case.
Definitely. And Green Cleric, I think you should step into the commentary booth because that's a pretty spot-on analysis of this match. Salty thinking Maya's ahead, Maya thinking Temple of Fiends is bad. When you've reached the 151 mark, it's never pleasant from any angle. Ugh. Fuchsia, what happened? Straight melees. And then a Bane. It was a melee to a red mage, a Bane to a red mage, and then melee for the rest. So now Salty's on his 3rd dive here in the earth floor. The one thing Salty has going for him is he's slapping fiends around just as much as the fiends are slapping him around at this point. If he can get the turn order right and he can get that luck on his side, he could be able to clear through this.
Yeah, because right now we already know that, well, obviously Kraken, it's like a truck, and Tiamat got a lot of nasty skills. So Salty can plan accordingly, but to do that, his red mages needs to stay alive.
And we welcome Nits__ into chat. Honored to be in the same company as Nasir. No, sir, you're not in the same company as Nasir. Nasir has spent most of this game dead. So, be an elite company. You've lived the whole game.
Right, ichbinmiah rushing through Sea Shrine. He just don't want to waste any time at this point.
Yeah, because I think at this point he's just got to keep moving. He's got to think Salty has to have wiped at least once. He's got to think Temple of Fiends is bad, but he has also got to hope luck's on his side. You just got to keep your head down, keep grinding, get to that point, and see what happens. Because he hasn't done yet. He honestly really has no clue which part or how many times he's wiped. So up until that done comes in, you just keep going. The thing that's going to interest me about Maya's run through is Maya is probably at this point considerably lower level than
yeah.
Saltyphry. I mean,
I
and
think-
not that it's bad. It's just lower level, like 19 or so, maybe less.
Yeah, I think he's like 3 levels behind. 1922, 1923 maybe. I think ichbinmiah is level 19 and Salty is 22, 23.
Oh, and there's a nuclear from Carry before the tank gets the shot off. Thankfully, the Life 2 charges will come in handy, but you never really see it. There's that, you were right, chat. Wall was at 4, but that wall is not helping against melee attacks and is not helping against non-elemental attacks such as nuclear and nuke. And I don't know, maybe we see maybe we see a wall or two come out because of Bane, at least on the one red mage that's unprotected.
Yeah, and if I'm right, ichbinmiah cleared Sea Shrine in like 3.5 minutes. And he must be on his way to TOFR now. I don't know if he's gonna bother going around trying to buy stuff.
Yeah, I think it's purely going to depend on what he feels he's missing, whether he has enough heal potions or otherwise.
Oh, he's gonna buy exit. Yeah, he must know TOFR is pretty rough.
Yeah, he
So
might look to a gas dragging grind or something like that to grab that for Temple of Fades. Starfleet Captain, question chat, who is currently in the lead. Technically, Salty is in the lead. However, Salty has wiped twice so far. Once to Chaos, and then once to Kraken 2. So he knows, he has information that's going to help him in the future fights. But if he wipes again, Maya will be in the lead in terms of progression. It's going to be on luck and whether or not Salty, or whether Maya does a little grind here. But right now, it's Salty's to lose.
Yeah, especially since it seems like Maya is going to grind a bit.
Oh, it's a 4 Frost Dragon fight that he's on. As we've got our third look at Kraken 2 now. We know he slaps Happy. We know he's got Bane. He's got to get that wall down, I think, on the third Red Mage. He's got 2 ribbons. One, there's that wall. He's got the ribbon on the Knight, ribbon on Life, and then gets that wall on Pure. So he survives that Bane, no problem. And then once he gets through this, if he can get through this with no problems, that Knight's going to smack the crap out of Kraken. So easily he'll hit for like over 1,000 once he gets his bearings right.
Yeah, and he already got 2 casts of White Shirt down, so this is gonna help quite a lot. Fire tree is no problem.
No problem. Here comes the boom from Fighter.
Essentially, every time Kraken 2 casts a spell, this is a relief. Except if it's nuke.
Fire 2, not a problem. Yep, and I think he can even slap that Knight once and it'd be alright. I think he hits in the 300 range with his melees on that Knight. Nope, no can do. Kraken 2's down once again. Moving on to Tiamat 2. Now, Tiamat 2 was an interesting little animal. He got through Tiamat 2, unfortunately, with the expense of his party being absolutely decimated down to his fighter. There's a
Maya got the ribbon, yep.
Wow, there's that third ribbon in the validation chest. That's going to be
what I
Maya's
mean?
second.
You need to check the validation chest.
Maya did miss a ribbon earlier, but picked up the validation chest ribbon, giving him the same number of ribbons now as Saltyphry. He's going to nope out, save it, make sure he keeps that ribbon for all time. And there's Tiamat with Crack. Everybody lives, it looks like. I mean, unless Black Belt was cracked, fell through the earth. But that's expected.
Here comes Poison.
Wall makes that no problem. Nuclear should be next on the list.
Yeah, but he should be fine.
Yeah, one more melee hit, that should take Tiamat out, no problem. That was a very solid hit. I actually wouldn't even waste the Cure 4 here. You got your other Red Mage, take care of that, no problem. But he opts the Cure 4 anyway to live. Thankfully, he does. He doesn't have to burn life 2. Tiamat 2 is down with his 2 Red Mages intact, making a beeline right for the Chaos floor.
And from what we could see, Chaos did not seem so bad.
Yeah, the only downside to that last fight with Saltyphry is he had to go it alone with a fighter without the defense sword. Melee was kind of not crazy.
No, around 150, 200.
Yeah, he had, I think, Fire 3, something else, spells so far that weren't too terribly consequential. He gets all of his defensive buffs down. He should have this. Good job getting that RNG for the white shirt down first by that black belt.
Well,
Ice 3 coming first. Yep.
Black belt did his job.
He did. Got that one charge of Invis off. That should give fighter a little more survivability. Stun now does not go on the fighter, so that's fantastic. That's 3, I think even 6 bonks, 7. And he is gassed right there. A little flag with word bang comes out. He should have 7 charges of bonk at this point. 7 saber charges. Temper charges. And if you want to be argumentative,
whoa.
We did not mean to use that dragon armor there. It looks like 5 tempers and 2 sabers, or 4 tempers and 2 sabers. He's about to just whack the crap out of Chaos here.
Yeah, especially since Chaos hasn't used any really nasty skill. I think the worst he did was like Fire 3.
Lit 2 comes down. That's nothing.
There we go.
895. That's it. GG. Was that his first hit on that Chaos? Because that was 895. If that was his first hit, that was an incredibly weak Chaos.
I don't think it could. This is 67%, right?
That is correct.
So it means it would be like 1300 minimum. I mean,
Okay,
Chaos got 2000, so it might be like second hit.
Okay, I must have missed the first one, perhaps in the lag. But definitely GG to Saltyphry. We're going to try and get him in here for an interview. He finishes in first place over ichbinmiah with a official SRL time of 2:01:29. Salty's no stranger to some of these long seeds. I think this is at least his second 2-hour seed. I think he had one in round 1 or 2 with Len the Cat that went pretty good on the distance. So Salty's getting his getting his time in, getting his quarter's worth out of the game. Maya is about to see firsthand. Can I drag him in? I don't know if I can drag him in here. Oh, I can. There we go. We are joined now in the Speed Gaming commentary booth by Saltyphry. Punches his ticket to the bracket stage, skipping over the play and race. GG, Salty.
Thank you very much.
Where do we begin?
I don't know. That was quite the battle. Beginning took quite a while to get started, and then Temple of Fiends. Jeez, yeah, that was quite the battle to finish that off.
I was just remarking, you are no stranger to these long seeds in this tournament.
Yeah, I guess there was a lot of 2.5 hour or so seeds in that league as well that helped a lot, kind of prep me up for this.
So let's start with the incentive item order pickup. You ended up discovering that the floater was vanilla and you picked it up last. Was there anything that would have suggested to you that you should have gone ice earlier, or do you feel like you made the right decisions even though you arrived at the floater last?
I think, well, once I got to Ice Cave, I kind of felt pretty good about it because I noticed the race had glare, which might have been much more of an issue if I was at lower level, and all the levels I got might have helped me out quite a bit there. I don't know if there was other bad stuff, but the race seemed pretty bad, so...
Yeah, you can tell that to ichbinmiah.
Oh, he definitely did not have a good time in the ice cave.
And like I noticed, especially like with Warp and Exit, I don't know if they were 7 or 8, which one they were, and Nuke and Fade were both up there as well. So
Exit was 7.
yeah, either way, I was never going to be high enough to use that at a useful time, so I didn't even bother checking for those. I just figured I was going to have to get in and out one way or another by foot. But at least in terms of the route I took, like I actually went to Ordeals first, just thinking, like I noticed right off the bat there was that nice long ship trip, at least at the start. So I was able just to get around on the ship without any issues. So I figured, Ordeals is easy to get to. Let's go there and start with that. And from there I went to Waterfall, just basically because of the proximity more than anything at that point in time. And also I figured there was a chance, I guess, you could have gotten something for sale on OnRack at that point in time as well, which the bottle was on for sale there. It could have been the floater for all I knew at that point in time. And of course, ice is never that fun to dive, regardless.
And I was remarking your offensive spell selection really didn't pull you or Maya, and you guys took the exact same route, almost top to bottom. I thought the spell selection really didn't drive you towards the ice cave in any facet.
I mean, the Harm 4 was nice, but at the same time, that only does so much. I mean, there's non-undeads that you have to deal with as well, right? I guess Fire 3 was level 4, which is, you got to get at least to level 10 or level 8, depending on if you got black or red mages. And even then, it's limited casts at that.
You kind of lean on the double red mage strategy, and especially with this black belt 4 seed, you lean on the double red mage strategy. Did you like that for the seed, or did you ever think, not a reroll, but perhaps if you had done it differently, do you think you would have gone red white or otherwise?
I don't think so. Like, obviously the spell selection wasn't great on this one, but I don't really know like if adding a white mage would have made it any better. Like, I had the life spells, which were kind of the key ones, I think, from the white mage perspective early on. Like, nothing else was really available, right? Like, Exit was 7, like you said. I guess Fade was probably 8 then, so like, what was I really going to get? Harm 4 was available, and that was pretty much the other useful spell, so it was what it was.
Yeah, and you had Tempered Fast at 1, so I mean, really, it was a good red mage seed, but other than Tempered Fast, it really wasn't that great of a black mage seed either. Plus, you did luck out with that Life 2 at 4 for red mage, and then Life at 5. So I mean, I think you got a little lucky with the good spell placements. I think that, unfortunately, like last game between Edgeworth and Wilkliosis, he ended up taking 3 red pages, and it didn't work out for him. That's unfortunately the risk.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the risk you take with the red mage.
No! As we're watching Maya get to Tiamat 2, that crack hits the fighter and knocks him out, down to white mage, red mage here.
Does he have 2 ribbons or just 1?
He has 2. There was actually one in the validation chest.
Really? So I walked by that a bunch of times. Hey, that would have been nice to have.
Yep, but unfortunately, I think both of his casters have the ribbons, and I don't think he got that wall off on the fighter. Or if he did, he's going to be upset that he got the 3 and 256 chance to get that Bane through the ribbon.
Yeah, I learned pretty quickly that I needed to wall up on Kraken and Tiamat. That second attempt when I got the Kraken, and yeah, he hit the one red mage that had the ribbon, and then next thing you know, he uses Bane and kills the other one, so it was pretty much over right there, that attempt.
Yeah, it seems like he's gonna try to kill Tiamat with his red wizard.
That red wizard has the very sharp trash can.
Yeah, and now like 2 or 3
Oh, no, he
casts
doesn't.
Nope. But he got like 2 or 3 casts of Saber and Fast.
I'm pretty sure that's Flame Sword there. This, for those asking about the reveal in chat, I don't have information on the reveal, but I can tell you this is the last match of round 4. So once this gets submitted, probably about an hour or so after it gets submitted, the matches are available on the challenge page for the spring tournament. As far as a reveal show with some more alpha features, that is something you're going to have to ask Zardia about. I do not have information on that just yet, but I can almost guarantee you it'll be tomorrow. And this is a slow and steady fight between the red mage and Tiamat here, with the white mage offering some light healing support. Unfortunately, the heal 2 going off first. Not while it's taking damage. Chipping away. Knits the red mage. Chipping away at this Tiamat.
Yeah, slowly but surely. And
Oh,
there we go.
and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, ichbinmiah has thrown in the towel. We're going to try and get him in here anyway to see if he wants to talk about that. Unfortunately, that we'll find out whether or not Wall was up. I didn't see if Wall got up. He definitely did not have the ribbon on the fighter, which is unfortunate. So we've got some press F to pay respects in chat. He's going to be joining us shortly to talk a little bit about that seed. In the meantime, Salty, you moved to 4-0. You are among the cool kids club at 4-0. You, Fuchsia Fassi, and Minochi, one of the three of you will be playing a 3-1, but you definitely got to like your chances being in the upper echelon of this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. At this point in time, everything's gone great. I can't really complain about anything, so it's going to keep rolling and see what happens.
We are now joined in the Speed Gaming booth by ichbinmiah. We press F to pay our respects, man.
Yeah, that was confusing.
Where, I mean, like, I asked Salty, I opened the same thing. Where do we begin?
Yeah, getting no bridge and no canoe at the beginning and getting crown sort of threw me way out of my comfort zone early, and then it was just sort of a comedy of errors from there on out. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to go back and watch this. There were several things I could have done more efficiently and done better, but you know, them's the breaks. That's fine. It was an odd seed, and so be it. So GG to you, Salty. Congratulations.
Thank you. GG to you as well.
So Maya drops to 3-1 with the rest of us 3-1 cool kids bracket. Maya's gonna have a lot of work cut out for him if he wants to make the 4-1 first round bye out of the play-in race. Any last thoughts, Maya, on this before we depart tonight?
Nope, just thanks everybody for watching. And Sforzando, I know you pulled double duty, so you must be exhausted. And so go rest your voice, and thank you for commentating so much.
Oh, I am a little sore, but I love what I do. Salty, our winner tonight, GG, any final thoughts?
I'll just say thanks to you guys for commenting. Thanks to the restreamers, the trackers, and Maya. Best of luck going forward, and maybe we'll meet in the brackets somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see. Best of luck to you as well.
And to my co-commentator partner, DD, it has certainly been a pleasure to do this with one of the legends. Any final thoughts?
Oh, well, this was sure an interesting seed. I mean, this is the first time I see a seed where you don't get the canoe right away, so this was fun to watch, and both runners did really good considering the circumstances.
Definitely. Well, for my partner, DD, I want to give a huge shout out to Speed Gaming and to Cyclone for restreaming for us. Give Speed Gaming and some auxiliary channels a follow. Feel free to give our runners a follow. They do this kind of content all the time. If you enjoy this sort of thing, get on our Discord. If this is something that interests you and you have not joined us already, we're a good, friendly bunch, always looking to grow our community. Thank you, Speed Gaming. We're going to turn this over to Speed Gaming Prime, where we are doing the Link to the Past No Major Glitches Tournament Game 2 in the best of 3, heading into Ganon's Tower here. I hope you guys enjoy. I have been Sforzando. It has been a pleasure to do both of these games for you guys. Have a good night, and be excellent to each other.